It was just hard. But it was the best decision like we ever made. And today is like, I'm so happy we made that decision.
Solar Pros, another episode of The Pursuit coming at you. I'm your host, Josh Holland. Today's guest is my dog. Good friend, newer friend.
We've been friends for a long time.
Gotten really close this past year. Curtis Burwell. How you doing, bro?
Doing good. Excited.
Dude, appreciate you finally letting me corner your ass into that chair and sit down. No, seriously, dude. I mean it. Like, a lot of guys, the guys that we need to hear from are the guys that don't want to get on. You know what I mean? I think that happens a lot. I think you have a lot of good things to say. So I really appreciate you coming on, man. Like, seriously.
For sure. Yeah. I appreciate you figuring it out for me.
Dude, how many times I got invited? Yeah.
For a second, I thought I had gotten through it.
Yeah. No way. We were gonna get you on. But little highlight, guys, for Curtis. He's one of our senior vice presidents here at Pros. He's also one of our partners. Runs the Infinite franchise is what we call it now. These guys did monster numbers this last year, over 4,333, or what was it?
4,033.
4,033 accounts last year. In 24, the year before that was how many?
Oh man, we broke 2,500, 2,600, something like that.
So
I can't remember.
So almost double, maybe
not quite double.
Quite double. And then the year before that was.
The year before that we did 1,800.
1,800. So these guys have been super consistent. Had the top region in their network this last year with Havoc. Shout out Kevin Wood and those boys. Kev got promoted to Divisional 2, so so much knowledge in this franchise. So there's your highlight. Basically, pay attention to what he has to say. There's a lot of wisdom here, but Curtis, I want to dive into kind of what makes you you, and I feel like a great way to do that is kind of what's been your path in door to door. Let's get a brief recap of just so people kind of understand like the experiences that you had, and then maybe we can dive into a couple of them.
Yeah, my cap, like how I started roughly, or
yeah,
what?
Just like your journey. Like, what is it? How many years has it been now?
This is my 17th year, I think.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's my 17th year.
So
right out of high school.
Yeah, straight out of high school.
Yep.
Let's start there. What did that look like?
Yeah, I had one of my buddies came to my high school graduation.
Okay.
He was like, hey, I was like gearing up to go work on a farm. That's what a lot of people do back, in Oregon. We're in this small town where I grew up. And he's like, hey, I think you'd be really good at this thing I'm doing this summer. And I was like, oh, really? What is it? He's like, we're going to sell security. And he didn't really say anything else much about it. And I was like, oh, cool, security. So I was thinking like Wall Street, like securities. I was like, this is going to be sick. And but then as he sent me like a pay scale and stuff. I didn't really quite understand. He's like, as you make sales, you could make, they showed you $50,000 if you sold like, I don't know, it was like 200 accounts back then, or 200. This is for securities, I thought. And I was like, okay, I can make 50 grand. So I showed it to my dad. My dad's like, he's a police officer, detective, just super skeptical about almost everything. And so he was like, hey, I don't, this doesn't seem right. Like, this doesn't make sense. That's more than he's probably making, And
yeah.
I was like, well, I'm going to do it because I'm not going to stay home for this summer anyways. And throughout high school, I'd actually left for the summers anyways. So I was like, yeah, I want to give this a shot. So hop in a car with my buddy, who was already in college. He was actually a freshman that year. So he was going to be a sophomore. I was going to be a freshman. So it was like four of us. We hopped in a car. We're driving out to Salt Lake City was our area for the summer.
Wow.
And as we're driving, they're like, hey, we're going to get you trained up on the way. And I'm like, sweet, because I don't even know. It was like a 15-hour drive or something. I was like, oh, whatever. So they start telling me like, hey, yeah, so we sell this home security system. They're showing me pictures of the panel and all this stuff. And I was like, whoa, home security. I was like, okay. But honestly, I didn't bat an eye. I was like, that's sick too. I was like, back then I was just, we like security. Like I always loved that kind of stuff. Like, oh, okay, people can secure their houses and like sensors and like cameras and like motion detector. I'm like, that's sick. So I was actually really excited about it. And they're like, for $1 a day, someone can protect their house. I'm like, it's only $1. It's like $39.99.
Yeah,
a month,
dude,
you know?
those are the days.
And I was like, that's not really $1 a day. But I was like, whatever. That pitch sounds great. So I was like, yeah, I went out there and yeah, it was an interesting summer. There was like 36 dudes in my office. There's actually a bunch of college dudes from a local college that was close to my town. Oregon State University, and I was going to the University of Oregon.
Nice.
And so we were out there. They've been selling satellite the year before. So a lot of these guys sold satellite with this company called Atlas. And so I was like with all these guys, and they're like, yeah, they're all pumped up. They all were driving super nice cars. Like, and I say that now, I don't even like one guy had like this weird Saudi Arabian type car with, you know, like I don't even know what it was called, like had like a tiger on it or something, and and then like BMWs and like all this stuff, right? And I didn't even have a car, so I was just like,
that's
okay,
crazy.
yeah, I was like, these guys killed it. So I'm like just trying to learn as much as I can, like just being around these dudes. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be cool. So I go out there. We have guys training us, and you know, it's just the weirdest thing. I'm like going out. I'd be like selling one day, and then like randomly a guy would leave, you know, and I'd be like,
where'd he go?
Where's Tommy? Like, he's gone. And then I'm like, okay. They're like, yeah, he couldn't cut it. He was, and then it's like instantly, he wasn't built for this. Like he couldn't cut it. Like, you know, he didn't know what it was. He didn't have any money or whatever. I don't know. But I was like, okay, and you know, it would be happening like every week for like a month straight. Guys would just randomly leave. It was whittled down to like 15 of us. Then my buddy leaves that got me into it. He's like, dude, you stay. Because I was like the top rep in the office.
Oh, wow.
With not very many accounts. Like I was selling like a couple, 2 or 3 a week. And I didn't, it was just, there's so many little things. But yeah, he's like, you stay, you're doing well. This guy had one sale on the year, like on the summer, you know? And I think it's because a lot of them came from satellite and they were expecting security to be very similar in the sales process.
Just a lot harder.
It was just a lot harder. And because of that, they were just like, I'm not going to, they just weren't getting sales. I don't know. It was just weird. So he's like, you stay, I'm going to leave. You know, you can have all my stuff. And like, he flew back home and I stayed there. And there was like, I don't know, 10 of us left at this point. I remember having to come home early one time and my manager was just like playing video games. And I remember that just blowing my mind, being like, wait a second. We're not all out here just grinding our ass off. I'm like, dude, this is brutal. Because it is brutal too. Like I'm like, and I didn't know. And like, so like I remember just kind of like so disheartened coming home, like finding him playing video games. And the regional was actually, it had gotten so bad that the regional was in my office at this time. He sent my manager home because it was just like bad. So it was the regional, and there's like 5 of us now. And I was like, dude, like, what's going on? I'm like talking to the regional. I'm like, dude, I'm like, he's not making it. And then I didn't even realize this, but like I was charging $100 an $100 activation fee per account. I'm making like $100 a commission, right? I'm like on the bottom scale. And I remember my regional being like, oh yeah. And he's like, dude, you have crazy good activation fees. You're at 100%. You're the best in the company. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. What do you mean? Best in the company? What do you mean?
Everyone does.
And he's like, you don't have to charge those. And I was like, what? I think I got $50 from the activation. I was like, I didn't know what it was on my pay. I was just like, I thought I just got paid like every.
Yeah.
And as soon as he told me that, I was like, wow, I didn't charge another activation fee the rest of the summer. And I remember like I still told guys that, and I'm like, dude, activation fee is all mental. Like back in the day, we'd sell satellite. Like I would tell it, it's all mental. I sold it every single time, and as soon as I knew I didn't have to, I didn't sell another one. I was like, why am I doing this? I remember people like, I had such conviction on it because I remember walking to people's houses and they would be like, and I'm like, and then it's just $100 to activate it
today.
And they'd be like scrounging for like pennies, and like I'm not kidding. Like sometimes I had like a baggie of like dollar bills and stuff. And I would like bring that back to the office to like turn it in, you know? And like, but like, it was like, I had to collect it. So I had zero empathy on it. I'm like, this
it's
can't
part
get
of
this
my
account.
job. Yeah,
This is my job. Like, I'm like, whatever it is, like, there's no way
do it.
I can get behind it. But I remember just like off the excitement, I was selling so well because I was so excited about the product. I didn't know much about it. Manager quits. Everyone ends up quitting. There's like 2 of us left in the office, me, the assistant manager, and the regional at this point. We get a call from one of the top offices in Pittsburgh at the time, one of the Toon brothers, actually. And he's like, hey, come out with us. He was telling my regional because they were good friends from Atlas. He's like, come out with us. And we're killing it out here. They're at like 2,000 accounts. My office is at 400, you know, on the summer. It's just like crazy.
Yeah.
So they rent a car. We hop. My regional didn't even have a car either, which I was like, I don't know, maybe because he wanted to get dropped off in Hood. I don't know. He didn't even have a car. So we had to rent a car. We pile all this crap in that I compiled from everybody leaving. I had every pot and pan you can imagine. I had like every utensil. I had to like throw a lot of it away because we could only fit it all in this tiny, like, you know, 5-seater car, just a sedan. There was 3 of us. We drive overnight to Pittsburgh, and I just remember being so excited to get to Pittsburgh too, because I was like, Salt Lake City, I'm like, man, this area was brutal. And they're like, and then my manager, he's like, dude, this is one of the hardest areas. Pittsburgh, East Coast, the people are so easy to sell. Guys are getting 2 and 3 a day out there. You guys are going to kill it. And I remember hitting the ground and just being like, so excited, talking to people and being like, this is the best. Like, yeah, like you, and like, I just remember just my mindset of the people that were out in Pittsburgh. I was just like, these people are so soft compared to Salt Lake, you know, like these people are like nice. And so I just started selling, finished my summer there, went back home, made like $8,000 or $10,000. I can't even remember what I made. It was like, but I honestly, I had zero expectation. I was just out of high school. I didn't have any bills. I was just going into college, and I had saved up money for college, and my parents were like, hey, they're going to help me. I was like, I just need to make some money for like to pay for school. I had in-state tuition, and so I used that. My parents paid for my housing my freshman year, and I paid for my tuition, or it was the other way around. I paid for one, and my parents paid for the other my freshman year. I had like a couple scholarships, but nothing to cover it all. So I remember the next summer, my goal was to pay for everything. I was like, I don't want, and it wasn't like more of like a pride thing. It's just like, I didn't want my parents to have like that control factor over me.
Sure.
I felt like it was a control factor, and I'm like, I want to eliminate that. So by next summer, I went out to Pennsylvania, and murdered it. And I had small summers because University of Oregon, we had like 3-month summers.
Gotcha.
So went out there and murdered it out in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. That's where we went. We were just doing row homes, and I just remember just being, I was loving it. Made enough money that year, went back, and then my parents didn't have to pay. Like I paid for my school from then on out till I graduated.
That's so cool.
So yeah, I did security for 3 or 4 years. Then did pest control for a year. I met Jordan doing security. I met him my 3rd summer. I met Jordan, which is my partner. Met him. He was actually with a company called Apex. They recruited him over to come over. He was a technician originally, which is so funny.
J-Dog be the tech, bro. I can see that.
Just like, and honestly, what's funny is like, I always wanted to be a tech too. I'm like, these guys, because I would talk to the techs, and I like love the guy. I love the techs, and I'm like, they're making as much money as I'm making, but they're just going in and like installing these panels, and I'm out here busting my ass, like brutal. I'm getting charged for points if I'm giving people too much equipment and too many sensors, and I'm like grinding, and like they're making, in some cases they're making more. Like I remember one of the lead techs was making like $45,000.
Yeah,
I was making like 20. I was like, dude. And you just get to drive around in your car all day and like sell these jobs. So I remember meeting Jordan, being like, but Jordan had the flip story where he's like, these guys are making like $100,000 selling over here. Yeah. And like, I'm getting screwed just having to install these jobs. He actually didn't know that. I remember the story. He's like, he didn't know how these jobs were being sold. He didn't know there was a sales team actually selling these door to door. He just thought he would have like a list of people to install that day.
Hey,
he
how's it
didn't know if it was in like where these were coming from. He's like, damn, people just want security. People just want this. It's like a great product.
Dude, security is like, you learn some things really quick. Like, talk about urgency. And you're selling that thing, and dude, there's nothing like it when you're like finishing the welcome call. Like, and I remember like the paper contracts were this long.
Dude.
5-year agreement, automatically renews. You're just like zipping through it. And then, you're on the welcome call with the customer. Boom, 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 knock at the door. You're like, who's that? You're like, oh, don't worry, that's Chase. Why don't you come on in here, Chase? Yeah, the panel's going to go right up there by that light switch. And he just like pulls out his rose like, she's like, the other lady's like, what's going on? And you're like, alarms are intense, dude. It's like you are using emotion to get that deal. Like, if you're just used to satellite and it's just like same channels, cheaper price, bills locked in for 2 years versus 1 year, it's totally different.
Well, I remember my manager, we were like, he was knocking with me one time, and we just sold an account, and the technician calls him and is like, hey, customer's trying to cancel it. He's like, put the hole in the wall. Put the hole in the wall. I'm on my way. Put the hole in the wall. And I was just like, we get there. This customer's like kind of irate. My manager, I'm like, I just remember watching him being like, this guy's a G. I'm like, this lady, the tech's like already got the hole. He's like putting the pan. He's like, no, finish it up. No, Julie, let's sit down. And you're like, what's wrong? What's wrong? It just like completely changes from what the guy I know, and just completely changes. Next thing you know, she's like, just giving him a hug and like everything's good. He's like, if anything comes up, just call me.
Yeah.
Just call me. That's all. No, we don't need all the emotion. Like, we're good. Like, everything's fine, Everything's done, washed out, 3-day right of rescission, for the customer. It was just wild back then. It was just like everything was dialed. You had to be dialed. We had like 3-page, like the contracts were 3-page, like 3 big page contracts. Remember that was like, you had a form, a B form, and a C form.
Well, I remember folding them a special way so you could fit them in your binder.
Oh,
and then,
sure.
And then it would just like, you would just flip so you couldn't see just that it was this long.
Oh yeah, I know, they were insane. They were
So
literally
funny.
insane. The C form was just like all you're doing is initialing these statements that are like, it was brutal.
Go ahead and initial right here for I'm charging you $0 today for the equipment. It's just like right here.
Oh, I forgot about that. You would just like circle massively the stuff
like,
you want
X
to
out,
see.
You're like, yep, and then you're like, right here, 5-year contract. It's like,
Oh yeah, it's 5 years.
Yeah.
No, the 5-year was brutal when they came out with the 5-year contract.
You guys were doing 3.
3 years,
Yeah.
36 months. And I remember actually when I remember knocking in that my 5th year, being like, holy shiz, or like my 3rd year and my 5th year being like, holy shiz, these people are just now getting out of contract that I sold originally. And I'm like, how are they doing? Like, are we doing good?
And if they didn't,
I never got a phone call.
If they didn't call it and cancel,
The auto renewal,
you're like,
yeah.
You're like, why does Vivint, how did they possibly sell for billions of dollars? It's like, well, they have contracts on all
The
these.
residual was
Yeah, dude,
ridiculous.
it's
I
like-
remember when I got out, I was done with security. It was a big mental strain for me. I was
Well, like it tests you morally.
yes.
That's what I felt. It was really hard for me because I was like, to be really good, I felt like I had to walk this line of like manipulation through fear, or like, I got to get Betty to get the medical pendant, and then I got to sell her on the pendant and make her feel scared, so I can then ease it with, oh, it's $49.99, but I'm gonna put a panel and a security system in here too, just in case you fall. And I'm just like, she probably could use it, but it's just like, man, like, you're testing me
You're
here.
adding
like,
a bill.
If it's like young family, kids, like rougher neighborhoods, like I can sell that. But when it's like, man, do I want to put this old lady into a contract? It's like, I couldn't do that. It was hard for me.
Yeah, that is hard. Fortunately, I sold in the ghetto for most of my time.
Yeah.
So it was like, I had that going for me where I'm like, she needs it.
Yeah. she needs it bad.
These people need this.
Remember talking about what was the pitch back then? It was
about
like,
you clip the phone line.
yeah, these guys are out here. I don't know if you've seen anyone skirting by and in the alleyway out here cutting phone lines.
Oh,
These kids are out here cutting phone lines.
Yeah. The cellular backup.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a new panel up. It'll call the police. It's not connected to the phone line. So
No, it
funny,
is
dude.
connected, but it's a cellular backup.
Cellular backup. That's right.
And I remember I was like, but then I at first I thought, I'm like, oh, it's got like a cell chip in it. It's super sweet, you know. I just remember getting so stoked about anything that came out, being like, wow, that's so cool. Then when I found out what like the capabilities actually were, I was like, wait, these medical pendants don't only work inside the house?
Yeah, it's like, well, she's out gardening.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I've been
Yeah.
telling it's like Life Alert where you could like be at the store
Yeah, oh yeah.
and like click it. This doesn't have a
Dude.
cell unit in it.
Well, I think like there's something cool about what you said like at the beginning with just not having expectation.
Yeah.
And just how excited you are.
Yeah.
I think that, dude, you see this so often, especially in this industry, like any performance-based thing, is that once you get going, all of a sudden you have a ton of expectations. Like subconsciously, consciously, and like that you think other people are putting on you. And you see like returning reps. Like so often you see like a beginning rep comes out, does well. He's pretty like freelance, you know, maybe starts comparing himself a little bit to other people in the office. But then, you know, that next year he comes in and the rookies will outperform him. And he'll be like, his first week back out in the summer, he'll be like, what the freak? And he's going to lose his mind. It's because this guy, he has the skill, but he's in his head because of all of these expectations. Like, I'm supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be like that. And it's, there's so much freedom in changing your value system to not be based on comparison.
Yeah.
You know, you can just freelance and just play like and just ball, you know, like and it's hard when like the longer you go in this, the more attached you get to these outcomes.
Yeah.
And it's, dude, it can plague your mind. You know, you see these guys like, dude, it's supposed to be like this. It's like, dude, you're holding on for dear life right now.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, I remember there's this kid, I won't say his name because I think he still sells at Vivint maybe, and he was in my office. He was like a top rep. And I remember like he was like his first year. I actually trained him. I actually taught him to sell, and he was like one of the top. He was going to be the top guy at Pinnacle that year.
Wow.
And I you know, I enjoy talking shiz, you know. So I was like, you know, whatever, we'll see. You know, I was like, we'll see. You know, he's like, I'm doing good. I think I'm gonna beat your ass this year. I'm like, oh, we'll see. You know, and then I remember one day I had like a tough day, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but something that really stuck with me, actually helped propel me a little bit, was it was like a spaghetti night. You know, we were having spaghetti in the office, and I remember I said something, or I kind of got into it with him for something, and I remember him being like, no one will ever follow you. You'll never be a manager. No one will ever want to follow you.
He said that to you?
He said it to me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and kid I trained. And he wasn't my recruit. I trained him for my manager.
Yeah.
And I had some crazy teams, like, but that manager was crazy. But yeah, and I remember that sticking with me, being like, okay, all right, like we'll see about that. I remember like we'll see about that, and because I had like a couple friends, I'd always bring a couple buddies out with me every summer, and like it was just a grind. It was just guys would always turn and burn. Like I think the only person that really at the beginning would come out and come back with me was my little brother, Craig. And yeah, you know, he did door to door with me for like 13 years. But other than that, it was like my buddies from college. I was like recruit him, get him to come out, and then it was just like turn and burn. So like I did have a little bit of that, but I still remember him telling me that when we were eating spaghetti. I just remember him telling me and just like taking that. That's like a core memory for me. It literally turned into a core memory of like, okay, all right, we'll see, bro. And I've exploded since then. He's just been like a rep or whatever. And I just remember there's like, I kept these like receipts essentially. And I always have like this, I guess it's kind of brutal. I always have a plan where I'm like, oh, like look where I am now, you know?
Sure.
And that's how I was back a long time ago, like maybe 10 years ago, where it was like, I just wanted to prove what I could do and everybody and like all these different things. And I've just let that fade a lot, but that's still like that moment. There's just like core moments throughout my door-to-door career, I'm sure with you, where it's just like people say something to you and it's like just in passing that maybe they never knew would like hit you, and it hits you to the core, and you're like, and it was just, you know, one of those late nights after you're just tired and beat and you don't want to deal with shit, and like somebody says something to you and you're just like, you just took so many no's that day, and that one just engraved. And I remember just being like,
yeah,
all right, bro, all right.
We'll see.
We'll see. So I held on to that for a long time. So I'd always say, like, we'll see about that. When we get to it with Evolve, a couple of years ago, I'm like, we'll see, Cam. We'll see. There's a lot left to play. There's always a lot left to play. You never know what's going to happen,
Sure.
So, no, it's fun. Door to door has been a great avenue for me and Jordan and my family. Like, it's been amazing, but it has had so many up and downs, and like, long nights, tough days.
Well, dude,
it's so fun.
17 years I'm at year 12, and dude, it's crazy, and it really is a job that is like the definition of like the refiner's fire. Like, if you let it, it can mold you into something, very resilient. Like, it will take a lot, and something that I feel like you and Jordan do well is like making light of changes or like big things happening, and like, dude, every year there's something. Literally right now, there's just so much going on. Like, what's Trump gonna do with this bill? Like, what's going on with solar? It's like, it's crazy to see. And you guys are always like, this is another Tuesday afternoon, man. Like, this is, or like the image of the guy in the noose.
Yeah.
Or what was that one? That's like,
oh, dude, like first time.
Yeah,
first time. No, it reminds me of like Apollo 13. I always think about that. There's so many like little movies. I love movies. And Apollo 13, when they're in the stress room, you watch that movie?
I haven't seen that in a long time.
So they're in the stress room, and it's essentially a room to like push guys' stress levels and to see like who can get to the moon. So like they have this guy, and it's like there's like ringing noise and like just like little ticks happening and like sirens going off and like just all these things happening in this room to like elevate the stress.
Interesting.
And one guy's just like sitting there with his legs crossed like this. He's just like reading a magazine, looks at the door because all the scientists and everyone are watching him, and he's like winks at him and just like keeps going. And then like the other guys in the room are just like freaking out, like screaming at the door, like, let me out, like out the window. And so it's actually comforting. Like when we go through really tough times, it's door to door has made it for me where I've flipped the script to where it's comforting for me, because seeing other people stress gets me excited. And I know it's weird, but it's like, I'm like, oh, okay, it's a purge. It's like, here we go. Who's got it? Who doesn't got it? I'm excited. I'm like, let's see. Like, we'll see. Okay. Like, yeah, now it's tough. This bill doesn't go through. Your company's going to make it. The amount of people that Jordan and I have been talking to the last couple weeks, like, which I'll never say, but like just guys high up in the industry across the board that are just scared and like where, they don't know if they're going to make it or what's going on, and it's like, yeah, dude, I would be scared if I was you too, where you're at. But, Jordan and I make long-term decisions. Like when we make a decision, our decision to come to freedom and, work with the guys that we're working with here. Like when I didn't make that decision lightly, that story's a long story, but what basically happened is we were at another solar company, and we had our best year ever. Like, it was one of our best financial years that we'd had. A lot of hardship that we had, obviously. It's just like every year in door to door. A lot of hardship. But I remember, this was the time when dealer fees were skyrocketing on us. It was going from like 20% to like the 30s. Interest rates were going from 0.99 to 3.99 or 2.9.
Yeah.
There goes 5%, whatever. Everything was like getting crazy. And I was like, okay, I'd known enough about solar at this time. I think I was a couple years into solar where I kind of understood it, because it's kind of a fire hose when you get into it. It's like, what is kilowatts? And how do I understand the pay? And like, how are our companies doing this? And it was just like kind of wild. So I was just trying to figure it out. But once I figured it out, I was like, dude, freedom's the place to be. And because we had used freedom prior to that with the company, with Caliber, which a great company, and we used freedom, and then we had a falling out with those guys, and I wanted to go with a company that just sold solar because I just didn't know any better. I didn't know if freedom was good or freedom was bad. And then once I went there, I realized freedom's not good nor bad. It's just solar is tough. Solar's a difficult deal. Freedom has, Jordan and I will always say, they don't do everything perfectly, but if you were to give them a scorecard, they're going to have the highest scorecard of A's, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to do more A's. They have some B's and C's, but other people don't have a scorecard that's going to line up like Freedom. They're built to last. So I was like, Jordan, I'm like, I hated moving. Like moving like to my core is just brutal. I was basically ripped out of caliber when it happened. So like that was like pretty tough. And I was like going back and Josh Slider, he was, he reached out to us. He's like, hey, I'm going, in-house with Freedom and it's everything you guys wanted. Like it's just solar, like nothing else. And he's like, I'd love to work with you guys. And so as I was like looking at it, we met with Brett. And as like it was one of the most difficult decisions of my life because I'd already ripped all my people from where we were and so like I have to rip them all again. And there was a lot going on in my family life. Like we're just having like another baby. We were moving. There was a lot of little things that were going on, but I was like, screw it. Like this is the long-term move. This is where I want to be when the seas get rough. I want to be at Freedom. Like the baseline, the way they operate, the people. I know there's so much that's been said. It's like, dude, I've been around it for so long. I'm like, this is the ship that's going to make it. This is the ship that's going to make it. I feel comfortable tying, my line to that. So we made the jump. It was one of the most brutal jumps ever, just like getting everybody back, ripping everybody through it. I remember having, Jordan and I never fight, like ever. And I remember having like some tough combos with him. And, yeah, he did so good, and it was just hard, but it was the best decision like we ever made. And today is like, I'm so happy we made that decision.
Dude, like looking at the landscape now.
I'm looking at the landscape now.
It's crazy because today's June. What is it? June 4th? And it's like solar is in an interesting spot. Like there's a lot. You said it best, dude. Like a lot of seas, rough seas to navigate, and like we're in a titan of a boat.
It's crazy.
A freaking oil tanker,
Yeah.
And dude, I commend you, man, because like I feel like people don't understand. This is a recurring theme with some of the people we've had on the podcast, but the price to be paid for, even just coming to pros and like creating pros and like what it even is. Like I think of my own story. I think of, Tyler Jackson. I think of, these other people that have what it's I think of the Meraki guys, Justin Wolf and what happened, like what their story's been. I think of you guys. And it makes sense, dude. Like these decisions were made on longevity and like really aligning your vision with a greater, like a bigger picture. And solar is one of those traps that can pull you into like the here and now because the money can get so good that you forget about the big picture. Yeah. And your guys' story in that transition is incredible, dude. Because like hardest part with that was just trying to get buy-in from your people, and they had just had their best year.
Yeah.
To go back to something that wasn't super great, right? Like their experience with Freedom was not great.
It was okay. Like it was fine. It was just our first year in solar.
Yeah.
It was tough. So like Freedom we didn't know any better, but like every company has their struggles, and it's like, yeah, their struggles were tough. But it's just like, it's just putting everybody on your back. Like the trust of, it's a lot of people trust you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's I was, there's like a saying where it's like, we climb these mountains and, but we weren't meant to carry the mountain. And, I feel like when you make a transition like that, you carry a lot with you, which is crazy. Cause like, and my story this year.
Yeah.
I've been trying to like offload the mountain.
Yeah.
Like crazy. Cause it's just been yeah, I take a lot of that in. I take a lot of it in, and I just like
You burden yourself with it. Yeah.
sits in me like a rock.
Yeah.
And I know it's the right thing to do, but it's like, it's just, yeah, it's people mean a lot to me. So when they put their faith in you, and they want you to lead them, it's like, yeah, I just don't want to fail. I just want to fail.
Well, dude, I mean, I think a lot of leaders right now can, just if you've been in the game for a while, like they can relate to you. And like when somebody trusts you with their livelihood, their job, their family, all of that, and you got to be the guy.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why leadership, like, why is it paid the most? It's like, well, dude, like you're solving the biggest problems, and people depend on you. And it's hard, like, because sometimes you don't know the right answer, but you got to make a decision. And people don't understand. Like Nick Saban says it best. He's like, if you want people to like you, go sell freaking ice cream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we have to make so many decisions that affect other people, and they trust you, and like the burden is heavy, and we're just trying to make the best call that you can. But it's, I always say this. I'm like, another job that requires more of you, maybe in different ways, but like from a whole person paradigm, like this job requires everything.
Yeah.
And that's why you have these strong feelings towards your people. It's like they've trusted you, and like so far it's proven right, and you want to make sure you want to deliver. It's cool, man. Like I don't know, like my other buddies that are doing, corporate jobs that are feeling that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? About their people. It's like you got thousands of people who depend on you.
Yeah.
They are looking to you. So it's cool, man. Like,
yeah, it's just that's a slippery line. It's like that line of like I said, when all this comes down, it's like I get excited.
Yeah.
And that excitement can turn into multiple things, but I get excited because I'm like, let's see who built their houses on sand. Let's see who built their houses on a rock. Yeah. And I built my house on a rock. Jordan's built his house on a rock. So it's just that stuff gets me excited. Like when this is happening, this goes down, I'm like, it's like, we'll see what happens to everybody else. Like, are we going to make it? Like 100% we're going to make it. We're so good. Like I have so much conviction. I'm like, dude, what's going on right now? Like the emotions and what I needed to do for like, I made that decision 4 years ago, 3 years ago, however long it was. So like nothing that's going on now worries me at all, because the decision of like planting my flag and knowing the leadership that we have, knowing that, the financial gurus that we work with, like, dude, I'm like, dude, these guys are way smarter than me. That's why I'm with them. Mm-hmm. That's why I surround myself with these guys. I know what I'm good at, and I'm going to push that. These guys, I know what they're good at, and I have a mad respect. I've always, even throughout like high school, like everything, like I would always attach myself to like the smartest kid I could find. Yeah. Like I did that all the time. Yeah, in high school, like the smartest kid, that like the kid that was like, the valedictorian basically. In math class, just like was so easy for him. I would attach him to him, and I would like do my math with him. Like he would be my buddy. So it's like we do math problems together, and I would just hang out with them. And same thing in college, I was with the Asian guys. I had 2 Asian roommates, but like I was with the Asian dudes all the time. And I would just attach myself to like the smart freaking people, and I can feel and I know when somebody's super smart and super motivated. And that's what we have at Freedom and at Pros. I'm like, dude, we've got some smart people running this ship. I don't need to worry about that. And it's the same thing with my guys. I'm like, guys, don't need to worry. Like we have great leadership. Like we are great leaders as well. We have great leadership. We're on the right boat. Trust me, when people reach out to you, they're saying all these things about what's going on in the industry. They're just scared because they're not on the right boat. And when you let that like seep in, you let other people talk to you and like take your happiness away, essentially, they're just scared. Like they're just scared. And I'm like,
And I tell them, I'm like, I could tell you stories from people I'm talking to at that company that are calling us.
Yeah.
And what's really going on. You don't know what's really going on. You never know. You'll never know what's really going on with somebody's life. You know, and my older brother, you know, he'll be like, yeah, he's like, this guy, he's got like a nice truck and like a huge house or whatever. And he's just like, I don't know what he's doing. You know, I don't know how he like, and he didn't make a payment or something for something. And I'm just like, dude, well, you don't know what's going on in his life. Just because they have the nice truck and the nice house doesn't mean that they're not living paycheck to paycheck with a maxed out credit card.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you don't want that person's problems. I remember Kamaru Usman was like giving us a talk one time, this UFC fighter. And he's like, man, my mom told me something one time where he's like, if we put all our problems in a pile, you would pick your shit right back up. You wouldn't want to touch my pile of shit.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just always think, I'm like, Cliff, you don't know what that person's going through. You have no idea what's going on in their life. You don't know what's going on in anyone's lives. And it's none of my business what's going on in anyone's life. What's my business is my life and my people. And that's all, you know, that's all you need to worry about. You know, what's it? Envy's the thief of joy. You know, it's like, dude, let them, like, if that's what they want to be, like, let them be. That's fine. But you know that we are in the right vehicle. We made that decision 3 years ago, whenever Pro started. Like, this is the vehicle to be on. It's a rocket ship.
Yeah.
It's like you can't put a restaurant out of business if it's packed out and there's a 2-hour line out the door because sales are through the roof, right? You go to some of these other companies that are doing 30 accounts a day, 100 accounts a day. Like, that's scary. This is the summer. We're doing 200 plus a day. We're packed. Like, our restaurant is packed. We got a line 3 hours long. You're not going to get in if you don't have a reservation.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody else is, dude, it's the freaking Chinese buffet. You know, you could show up and there's nobody there. That food's 2 days old.
Yeah.
You better hang on. You know, you're going to get sick. Dude, that's what I feel. That's honestly how I feel right now. I'm just like, yeah, we were just talking to our regionals the last couple of days. It's just like, dude, Pros is the only place to be. Like, yeah. It's wild.
Well, there is something to say about, you know, one of the ultimate skill sets in this industry is just the ability to outlast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because time reveals all. And if you can just outlast your competition, like dude, like that's worth more than any skill. You know what I mean? Like, the guy that can just stay in the game long enough to see it through and doesn't get scared enough to like deter his plan. Like, you just stay the course, plant the roots, and, you know, focus on the roots, not the fruits, right?
Yeah.
And just go.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to do because there's just so much in solar, especially. It's like, it is a ride, and you got to like adapt to like, you know, things are going to be should be moving all the time. That's what's normal. It's when they're not that you're like, wait a second, let's go.
Yeah. It's just a ride because you guys make so much money and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's fast in, fast out. Like I said, like, you build your house on sand, you're dead. You're done. When the water comes in, you're done.
Yeah.
No, a storm comes in, you're done. Like, you can't survive it. That's why it's like, you know, you keep your highs medium, you keep your lows medium. Like, things will come, the waves will come. You know what Doug says, like, the storm's gonna come. You just gotta learn to dance in the rain. Like, you gotta figure that out.
Gotta
like,
learn to surf. Yeah.
Just go with it. You know, like, you just make your investments. You don't overextend yourself. It's like just basic stuff. But guys, they get this quick cash. They think it's gonna last forever. And it's with everything, with anything, you know, they think it's going to take them to the moon. They're going to make $1 million a year for the rest of their life. It's like, no, you're not, dude. Like, you might make $1 million a year for like 3-4 years. And then you might make 100,000, 200,000, doesn't matter. But again, there's so many little things where I like when it gets crazy. I remember like our first year at Pros, Jordan and I could have taken way more money. We could have taken tons of cash home. And we didn't take any cash. We just kept putting it back in, just growing, just grinding, grow. And guys will ask like, oh, why aren't you taking any cash? And I'm like, yeah, because you're not built like us. You can't survive like we can. We're built for the long haul, right? You're built for, we're the long-term decision. Where you're at right now is a short-term decision. Your VP needs to make $1 million a year. He needs to. He needs to make $600,000, $700,000 a year. He needs to.
Because he's got $80,000 a month in expenses.
Oh, he's got 100%. Jordan and I could go work as greeters at Walmart and we're fine. We're fine. Like, that's how we're built. It just literally don't need anything to live, to survive. Our lives are just, and we live great lives. There's nothing like, there's nothing crazy, but guys just get in. They need the cars, the shoes, they need to show everybody that they're making all this money. They do these crazy high risk investments, whatever. It's just like, it's all about long-term growth and just steady growth, just steady, just keep going steady, put the work in. And that's just like the doors. It's like, it's just discipline and consistency. Mm-hmm. You don't need to come in hot. You see those guys come in hot, they sell like 20 their first month, and then all of a sudden they start bageling, and then when they bagel, they can't handle it. They're like, and they quit.
And then you got Steady Eddie out there.
And then you got Steady Eddie, freaking Schofield throwing in 100 a year for 4 years straight, like nobody's business. He does the same thing every day, and he makes, that's what this is all about. If you can just be consistent and very high maniacal discipline, you will make it in this industry. It doesn't matter which, in door to door. And that's what we learned. Like that's what we try to teach guys. Like, dude, you got to be disciplined. It's the hardest thing to teach guys. It's the hardest thing to teach guys to not spend money like idiots. It's so difficult. We have guys that have been with us for so long, and like they're growing like crazy. Like we try to get guys to grow outside of door to door like crazy. Like, it's the only way. But the only way to get them to grow in door to door is to get them to grow outside door to door in their personal lives, and you can dial in like in your health, the way your sleep patterns, how you treat yourself. And then like for me, like the final step for me is just like dialing in yourself, like your actual mental, because the beating you take through door to door, I don't think anyone ever talks about it, but it's tough. It's a lot. And
it's traumatizing.
It really is. I always say anyone doing door to door at a high level, they have a problem. They're psychologically messed up. They are. We all are. You could talk to any of us, and like, yeah, there's some things that's the only way you can take that amount of negativity for that long and not crack, right? Because you're taking no's and get the F off my porch and like get out, and like, dude, doesn't even faze me. Like, it's like, what? Doesn't faze you? You're like, oh, guy's having a bad day, keep moving. A normal person would be like, I don't know what to do today. Like, what? It's like, it doesn't faze us. And there's only one way to do that. You've built up this persona. Your ego is so strong, so big. We talk about ego, your ego is so big, so strong in protecting you. And then it's like, and it's funny because you get to a certain level and then you're like, okay, this ego that got you here disrupts a lot of other things in your life, and you got to learn how to like get that ego down to like
kill it,
kill it almost, which is scary to say because it's like, my favorite movie is Whiplash. You ever seen Whiplash?
No.
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's about a drummer, and the short story of it is like, it's how somebody becomes great, like how to get somebody to be the best at something. It's my favorite movie ever, and it's just like the coach, the guy that's teaching him, like he goes to this like the top jazz school in the nation, and he's like, it's my job to push people beyond expectations. That's my only job. And then the guy's like, well, like you did it to this kid and he killed himself. He ended up killing himself because he was so hard. And he's like, someone that's going to be great, like Tom Brady, they would never have quit. They would never have quit. And I think about that stuff because it's like, dude, it's so true. It's like we push ourselves so far to that line, and that's what makes you great. That's how you become great at something, is getting close to that line, not going over the line, right? You got to go close to that line, and that's why working on yourself and your ego kind of gets you, keeps you in line with being great, because being great, there's such a heavy price, which is it's why I don't want to have sons. I actually told a couple people, I think I told you about this. Did I tell you about this?
Yeah.
It's like, because I feel like I would have to push them. I know what it takes. I know like what happened to me and how I got where I am. I don't want to do that same thing to somebody else.
Interesting.
But I would have to, because in my mind, I couldn't. I couldn't just like let somebody go. I couldn't just let somebody like be there. Like I couldn't just let him be mediocre if I had a son. I'd have to have him be like something great. You have to be great. And I know what that takes, which is why there's a lot of reasons why I wanted daughters, which I got, which is like my dream. Because it's like you go home and you have all that love. But yeah, I've had that for a long time. I'm like, oh man. When I see my brother has sons, I'm like, dude,
It's heavy.
It's a lot. I take that. Yeah, I take that a lot. It's heavy.
Dang, that's interesting. I've never thought of it quite like that, dude. Like, I spent a lot of time studying ego. I am fascinated with it. It's like it's such a complex thing.
Yeah.
And I think like our general understanding of it's like pretty low.
Yeah.
Like ego is your brain and like your mind's like it's what gives you your sense of self.
Yeah.
So what it does is it attaches itself to identity.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't care what you give it to identify with. It'll take anything.
Yeah.
So you gotta guard what you see, like an inflated ego, and then you see a deflate, like somebody who has like a lot of self-rejection or is like really low self-esteem.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, just flipped.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same exact thing as like they've attached themselves to an identity that someone with an inflated ego, it's, oh, I'm greater than thou, like type thing, and it inflates you and gets you big, or it can press you down like everyone's better than me. It's still, both of them are just extremely self-centered.
Yeah.
Which is so fascinating. And, as I've tried to figure that out for myself, it is one of those things where you're like, I think you said it well, like what got you here isn't going to get you to where you want to go. And you're just constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
In this rotation. I look at like 2020 Josh, 2022 Josh, 2024 Josh, and I'm like, I don't want to go back to that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I hope that I can continue to do that, because I just looked at how the identity that I was clinging to.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is stuff outside of my control. I'm like, that's one hell of a way I don't want to live, is like having my value be attached to something that I can't control, versus something that, just, hey, I have inherent worth and I'm going to control, the inputs that I can control. But like the score and all that stuff takes care of itself when I'm just doing my job at home with my kids, as a dad, financially, all the disciplines that you said. But, identifying with the process, Tanner Sorensen said it so good. He's like, you marry the process, divorce the outcome.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. I love that. And I think that's like a healthy thing for me that I found is like, I'm going to base my value on those things, and not, how many reps do you have? How many accounts did you do? How much money do you make? What's your house look like?
Yeah.
And then, cause this comparison game is like, dude, it robs you of everything.
Yeah, totally.
It's interesting to see, but I wish I would have known that years ago.
Oh, for sure. It's crazy because I think back about it, though. It's like I have tons of gratitude for that old Curtis, like that Curtis
totally,
that's dying, because I'm like, dang, bro, like that guy.
He put
he put the team on his back, and I'm like, thank you. Time to move forward, time to move on. But it's crazy. It's crazy having to, I feel like the journey that a lot of us are actually going on right now, just like figuring out how to, like you said, kill the ego a little bit, because that stops you from growing, spiritually. And like that next level, I really feel like the next level from where I'm at, like the mountains I've climbed, the next level is like a more of a spiritual level. It's a more of an inner self level that I have to fix. And it really started to come out because it's like, my cup over the years, 17 years, has just been getting poured into, the way I look at it is my cup was overflowing with emotion, right? I know people are like, oh, it's, they get poured into. That's good, right? For me, it was like, I'm overflowing. I'm taking on all of this drama. I'm taking on all these people's problems, my, family problem, whatever. I'm taking it all in. Just drop. And then it got to a point where it's like I was overflowing. I could not even take on the smallest task because it became so big to me. Like just a phone call with a rep that was having a bad day. I couldn't take it. I'm like, I barely have enough capacity to like talk to my daughter about preschool. You know what I mean? Like when she would come home, I would save my capacity for that. So it got to that point where I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm just like, oh, and I'm like, I got to figure out. That's when I realized I'm like, okay, we've been like throwing all this down for so many years, all this emotion down for so many years. It's starting to come back up, and it comes back up in situations like this. Like you've seen me like almost cry here a couple times. It's because like the emotion is uncontrollable, and it knows when I'm in a vulnerable spot, it comes out, and it'll come out on me. I can't control it, where I could have controlled it like nobody's business years ago. And that's what got me through so many hard times. But now it's like I need to get through that. I need to learn how to offload that emotion so I have a greater capacity to love and greater capacity to like feel, which is something that I've just pushed away for so many years to get to where I am today,
Bro, you're speaking the sauce right there. Like, yeah, it's just the thing that most guys don't want to hear. Yeah. But it's 100,000% what they need to work on. My guys know this. Like, I am, dude. I think it's the biggest thing right now is like just people are so out of touch emotionally.
Yeah.
And like, what's so funny about that is, dude, is like EQ, emotional intelligence, is the GOAT skill set, and we're all about like chasing this stuff. But it's like, let's go learn more about this or about recruiting. It's like, dude, the GOAT skill set's emotional intelligence. You cannot give what you don't have. Like emotional intelligence, dude, when I first heard it, I was like, that term, I was like, oh, bro, I got that for sure. This like 2019. And I probably heard before. It was the first time I remember like really thinking about that. I heard it from an experienced Vivint leader. And he was like, EQ is emotional quotient is the GOAT skill set to have. And I was like, oh, I for sure have that. I was like, I can read people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
look back at that now. I was like,
that's what everybody thinks it is.
Bro, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
I was like, it's that emotional resilience. It's the ability to mold and emotionally, and then to know yourself, the self-awareness to actually be like, hey, I'm feeling this way. Why is that? Because like we're just ruled by emotions and we pretend that we're not. Yeah. It's like the most bizarre thing ever. It's like, one, we just chase feelings. Everything we do is to feel a certain way. And then two, we are completely controlled by emotion.
Yeah.
It rules our life, but we want to pretend like it's not there.
Yeah.
And we want to pretend like these things, like, oh, this car or this girl or this scenario, this house is actually going to give me what I want. It's like, no, what you want is to feel a certain way, and you're thinking that that's going to give you that. That's all it is. Yeah. And, dude, like, what's so funny is, like, is you peel back these layers and you look at emotional intelligence as going deep with yourself, understanding who you are, like what, how you're operating, and then you can see that in other people.
Yep.
And then you can connect.
Yeah.
And meet them where they're at and have influence. And
totally.
But if you haven't gone there yourself, you can't do that.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and we're trained to do the opposite. We literally are in door to door. We're trained not to feel emotion. Like we're trained for it. Like the guy,
crazy.
Because it's so like, true. Why do we think we do I am statements? I am great. I am this. I'm the. A lot of times we're doing it because we're killing another statement in our head, right? And you're flipping a statement essentially, like oh this person said screw you, and then your head starts running with something that's like you suck. And you're like, why did my brain say that? I don't suck. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. Right? And then we start saying that to kill the what? To kill the you suck statement that came in your head. Right. And that's where, for me, I was like, my epiphany essentially was when I couldn't kill that statement for some reason. Like I used to be able to like ram through whatever. Like I just tell myself, this is what we're doing, and we do it. This is what we're doing, and we do it. Hard things we don't do. Nothing's hard. Everything we do is easy. It's just simple. This is simple. You do this, and then all of a sudden, one day my mind was, no, we're not doing this, and I was like, yes, we are, and it was like, no, we're not, and I was like, whoa, and I couldn't stop it, and it forced me to do so. I was like, whoa, like, and it was just really cool because I'm like, I know now looking back, like if I didn't go through that experience, these experiences I've had where it's like, I'm just very low empathy in general, but I was way lower empathy before some of these experiences I had where I was just like, if you're thinking about the past, you have depression. If you think about the future, you have anxiety, and you should be thinking about the present and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't understand. I'm like, anyone that's got these things, like, they're just weak. You're weak-minded. You're just a weak person. And then when it hit me, I'm like, no, you're not weak. Like, this is crazy. Like, you can't just control this forever. And like you can when your cup is empty, right? For me, right? When my cup is empty, I can do anything. But when things start getting added in and you get maxed out, these things will start to come up, and they'll come up at the most inopportune time for me, at least. And I couldn't control the thoughts that were going on in my head anymore. And I was like, I need to figure out the car that got me, and this is how I've been doing a lot of coaching, and that's like what I didn't realize before. Everyone's like, you can go get coached, or like go do, like, invest in yourself. And I'm always like, that's so lame. Like,
I'm good.
Like, yeah, what? What are you talking about? I'm like I don't need that, whatever. And I didn't realize, and again, there's people looking at different things. My wife was actually the biggest advocate for like life coaching. She's the one that kind of like brought it to the forefront for me, where it was like, hey, life coaching is like a big thing now. It's not like therapy or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, what is life coaching? And it's like a spiritual coach where they not just talk to you about your problems, but they walk you through, breath work or just meditation or journaling or do whatever, just to get yourself in a more relaxed, sound state. And so it's like, yeah, all right. So I start to look into that, and I'm like, this is totally what I need. Like this, I've never learned this skill to this level. And I was getting hosed by not knowing that skill. So I had to figure it out really quickly. And it was like just turning that on its head, essentially, like those negative thoughts, and just letting them be, instead of constantly fighting with myself all the time to disrupt those negative thoughts. Be like, no negative thought ever. But then I have 2 girls, right? And it's like, I'm like, thank God I went through this, because I would never have been able to empathize when they freak out, they're overwhelmed, their circulatory system their nervous system's freaking out, and I would have been like, what are you doing? Like, chill, like, you're fine. But now I'm like, I know what's going on. They're just a kid. They don't know how to handle the situation. It's overwhelming to them, and and it's that emotion, and I don't want to push that emotion down like I did. We just push that down when they're freaking out. I want to like give them a hug, let's get it out. Let's let it out. You know what I mean? Which is totally different. I would never have been like that had I not gone through some of those experiences. So like, that's what I'm like, that's for me. I'm like, thank God I did that, because it makes me so much more relatable to a total different subset of people that I just could not connect with before.
Totally, dude. Yeah, I mean, you feel like it's made you a much better leader?
Better leader for sure. Wait, yeah, but by far, because I can connect with my guys better. Was always really good at connecting. I've always had very strong relationships. I don't let people in very easily, but when I do, it's like I cling to you, and I like create a life around you, and like create my life around different people.
Yeah.
With different skill sets, and like people that I like. For me, it's like a lifelong thing. Like I met Lindsay my freshman year of college, and just like right when I graduated, and like we've been together since then till now, which was almost 17 years as well. Like literally,
she's been with you the whole time.
Yeah, never broke up, nothing. We dated for like 6 years, and now we're married. We've been married for like 11 years.
So
you know,
good.
Jordan's been my one of my best friends for like 15 years, and when I met him, you know, so. Oh, so I'm talking that emotion just comes up, dude. I
Bro,
can't
it's
stop
good.
it.
You know, it's good.
Can't stop it. So it's so tough.
It's not.
And I'm like
dumb, dude.
trying not to stop it too, like right, because you know,
Totally.
you just want to let it out. But I'm like,
Bro, it's so good. It's so relatable. There's gonna be a lot of people who will be like, I feel like that all the time. I remember, like, it's so funny, dude. Like, cause it's just not masculine. It's like, especially like our age, like our parents, you know, well, cause you're what, 30,
I'm 35, be 36.
35. Okay. I just turned 34. And like, I look at my dad and, you know, other people's parents and just, that's just not how it was.
Yeah.
But like some of these young guys that like, I'll do one-on-ones with guys and they are super aware emotionally, like
Yeah.
dialed. I'm like, where did you learn that?
yeah,
Well, this is crazy. Like you're like, I'll be like, so what, you know, how's it, you know, you're struggling with this, blah, blah, blah. Like, how you feeling, dude? And he'll be like, well, I'm feeling this, and this. And I'm like, he's like, so here's my plan. I've been journaling this. And I'm like, dude, these kids are just set up to do really, really well. Like they have the tools that I'm
Yep.
like, you know, we were doing paper contracts. I was worried
Yep.
about a paper contract back in the day when you know, and you know a lot of these things that I learned last year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always tell guys, I'm half a step ahead of you, dude.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and I'm 34. So like, it's just so fascinating, dude. So I commend you, man. Like it's not easy. And like, I just got to a point where I was like, I hate feeling this way. I love to compete.
Yeah.
And I always felt like it gave me my edge. I was
Yeah.
like, that's my edge. It's like, fuck these guys. You know, like you got to run through them. And it's like,
I love
dude,
it.
you can still be a ruthless competitor, but not have your worth
Yeah.
attached to a result,
Yep.
which clings to all these other ego problems. It's like, dude, you're just in it. Like what I like about competing is competing because it makes you feel alive.
Yeah.
It makes you feel in the moment.
Absolutely.
And it makes you feel, you know, full. And then, you know, I can't control the score. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, it is what it is. It's like my worth's not dependent on that. And like, it took me a long time to figure out. It's like, I can control how hard I practice, what I put in there. At the end of the day, like, I'm just glad to be here and compete.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and win. Doesn't mean
sure.
I'm not going to try and win, but I'm not going to, you know, question my life if I lose.
Yep.
It's like, cause it's not worth, like, it's just robbing me of, I got family, dude. I got kids.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I got to show up, you know, it's like, I want some pity party. It's like, take it for what it is. It's not failure. It's feedback and move.
Yeah.
And that's life. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, hey, that's my approach. That's what makes me feel good. Like, I don't know if that relates to anyone, but that's, my life's been way easier that way than detaching all these things. But dude, I feel like your heart though is like one of your superpowers. And I want to highlight that. Like, in an industry full of darkness, like Brett would say, which is so true, there's a lot of bad leadership. There's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of secrets. There's a lot, you know, things. I feel like it's so reassuring to have guys like you and Jordan who just love their people. I mean, like, truly. And like, from somebody from like an outside perspective, like, I've always known you guys, but I haven't known you. And like, we haven't always been close. In fact, like, for a long time it was probably like, I'm going to avoid these guys. Which is so interesting. Cause like, I feel like we have like a really cool connection, but, what I noticed is like, I can respect the hell out of these guys cause they love their people and they want to win, but they want to take care of them. They want to create certainty and they want to fulfill like these basic human needs that people have. And that is a heavy burden to bear. So I think that's like one of your guys' superpowers for sure.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. You guys are Infinite's legit, dude. Like, you guys have some, you know, Kevin Wood's one of my all-time favorite guys. You know, Jordan's just such a fun dude. And you're so in the details. I feel like that's another one for you is like, you know, any question about pros, I'm like, I call Curtis. I'm like, hey, like, what do you think about this? Like, how's this work? Or, you know what's going on in the business. And that's so reassuring. I think for your people is like Curtis has got it,
Yeah.
which is probably adding to your stuff, right? It's like you feel like you have to have that, but I think you do such a good job of just showing up for people that way and just knowing the ins and outs.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to plug gaps. That's
Yeah.
basically it. It's like, dude, anything that makes the sales rep or the guy in the field makes their life harder, like, I try to eliminate that.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like, dude, it's just picking up the phone call and being able to, like, talk to a guy. Now, there's a certain, like, there's a level to it. Where it's
Totally.
like some guys, I'm like, dude, use the resources.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, I'm doing X, Y, Z for you. And then there's some guys I never hear from. And then they'll call me and they're like, can you change a rep pay scale? No problem. Because this is your one asking me. No problem. We can do that.
Mm-hmm.
I can do these things for you. So yeah, I'd say there's ebbs and flows with it, but yeah, no, I like to be in the details because then my guys don't need to be so much in the details. And, and a lot of times the devil's in the details. So
Totally.
you gotta keep an eye on everybody.
That's that father detective. In you.
Oh, yeah.
He's gotta,
Oh, no,
Let's go
yeah.
investigate.
Very, very, very high protective instinct. I have extremely high protective instinct, which my kids have too. It's crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, dude, what would you, what would you say to an up and coming leader right now in today's climate in pros? Like, what advice are you giving that guy?
Just keep your head down and stay in your lane. Like, dude, don't let the worrying and all the other things, like who's going to be the next finance partner or what, that's Brett's job. That's Brett's problem. That's not my problem. If I took on everyone's problems, it's like the guys will ask me all the time, like, hey, what's Jordan do? What do you do? I'm like, I don't know what Jordan handles different problems. Like, I just know that I don't have to handle every problem because he's handling them. Like, there's certain things, like Jordan onboarded this guy. He handles whatever it is with this guy. This guy, they reach out to me like, hey, what's going on with this? I'm like, hit Jordan up. That's his lane. That's his problem, right? If there's something that's going on with hierarchy, they're like, hit Curtis up. That's my problem. Figuring out like the financial landscape of the business, that's Justin's problem. You know what I mean? Like, and again, that's why I said surround yourself with the best leadership you can possibly surround yourself with, right? Like freaking relentless. So surround yourself with I think so highly of all the leaders we have. They're all grinders. They all want to work hard. From the alpha boys, the freaking Meraki dudes. I'm like, I look around. I'm like, sometimes my ego's like, are you anything? You're nothing, dude. These guys are studs.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting to be around that, but I just stay in my lane. So depends on where you're at. Just stay in your lane. If you're in the field, dude, this is when NEM 2 was going away in California, I was driving out and I wasn't even selling that much, but I was like, holy cow, NEM 2 is going away. I'm going to use the shiz out of this. I was driving like twice a month to Palm Desert with my little brother and the team he had here to go sell in Palm Desert because NEM 2 was going away. And we had like a month left of selling that. And it was just a gold rush. And I'm like, I'm taking advantage of that. There's no way I'm not. And that's the same thing right now. It's like, dude, if everything goes to crap, Freedom will be the only place to be. That's number one. Number two, if everything goes to crap, that means the next 6 months will be the best 6 months ever. The law of the harvest. You better be like sowing your seed like you've never sown it before.
Yeah.
Because the guys that are going to get through the next 12 to 18 are the ones that treat the next 6 like their life depends on it.
Yeah.
So I'd be tripling down on whatever I'm doing. I'd be spending more time in the field, and that's where all the money is. Like, spend as much time in the field. Like, there's gonna be jabs that you take, and you got to slip them. Like there's a jab, my financier's out. Well, then blitz somewhere else. Blitz a market where they have good financing. Whatever. Like, you got to be mobile right now and ready to move. And I know it sucks, and it's like, yeah, that's and there's gonna be places that maybe they get shut down, maybe they don't. I don't know. It depends on what happens with the bill. But again, control what you can control and give everything else to God. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Just move forward. Because if you get caught up and you try to get in the weeds and you're like, what's going on? And what's going on with Mosaic? And like, they're going like, how is that affecting you? It's not affecting you at all. I mean, other than like, unless it's a financer in your market, right? That's like, you got to pivot out of that now. Keep moving forward. And Brett and them at Freedom and Trad, like, trust. They will figure it out. They are the best in the business. They truly are. The best in the business. We're in 39 states. Like, dude, no one else is competing with that. Sunrun's maybe the next biggest, and what are they in, like 7 states, 9 states? I don't even know. Who cares? Dude, no one's competing with Freedom. We have the best guys in the business running it. So be consistent, use some dedication, get in the field, and stay in your lane. That's it. Like, it's simple. Like, if I was just a rep right now, dude, you wouldn't hear from me. I'd be gone 8 to 8. I would just be grinding. If I was freaking in my 20s, I'd be grinding 8 to 8, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, dude, this six months, we all need to make $1 million. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, we would like put that on the board, $1 million, and we give each other nicknames. Like, we used to give each other nicknames, like back in the day, you know, just like give each other nicknames, like $1 million man, you know, whatever. Just like start giving guys nicknames. And now go hit that number. What's your number? Go hit it. Go hit it. Just get pumped and go hit that number. Go make your money.
That's dope.
That's what I do.
That's great, bro. I think this has been a lot of sauce, dude. A lot of good stuff. Any last thing you want to, you know, I know we just kind of did like a you know, a coming manager. Any last advice you'd give guys just like in door to door in general, like you know, maybe about mindset or about, you know, just any key thing you'd learn, like an overarching thing, kind of end.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. We talked about multiple things, but just having, you know, maniacal discipline. That's what will get you through no matter what industry you're in, it will get you through every hard time, every easy time. And discipline will make the hard times feel easy, right? And I've known that. I'm an example of that. And like when I got into security, it was 2008, the housing crisis of the world, whatever. Like, selling security like it was going out of style.
Totally.
And I didn't even know anything was going on.
Yeah.
I literally was like, I don't like my parents, like whatever. My parents were really good with their money. Like they were like, they're very frugal. Dave Ramsey, you know, super Christian. Like just, so like they never took any risk in their life. Or, I mean, no, that's horrible to say that. They've taken risks, but they're very, very diligent and like
Calculated,
yeah. Very calculated. So yeah, that's what I'd say is like, dude, what was that? What was it? Was it like
just like an overarching thing? For,
yeah,
for guys
dedication, discipline,
discipline.
And yeah, just be super, super disciplined in what you're doing, and things will be easy.
Dude, the last thing I'd say to end is, you in this industry we are overwhelmed with good advice.
Yeah,
and it's so interesting, like why we don't take it. You know, like. You know, knowledge isn't power. It's the application of the knowledge that's power. And I don't know what it is, dude. It's like this mystery to me of like, why? Like you almost have to be ready for certain information. It's so weird.
Yep.
I've heard so many of the same things for years, and it's like, oh, after 10 years of hearing it, I guess I'll give that a shot.
For sure.
You know, it's like my advice is like, just don't wait.
Yeah.
It's like it can benefit you. Like, be curious.
Yeah.
Increase your curious muscle, dude. Like, just be like, what is that? Like, I'm gonna go, you know, chat GPT that. Like, you can literally chat GPT like, hey, here's what I'm doing right now. I want a better routine.
Yeah.
What do you got for me, chat? And it's gonna can lay it out. Like, you just have so many resources. So that's my advice to guys. Like, take notes, and don't be the guy that doesn't apply something. Like, if you took the time to listen to this pod, have a takeaway. Yeah. And write that shit down and actually try and apply it. And it's just those little deposits, boom, over time that you see just guys win.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, timing is everything.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Dude. Curtis, you're the man. Appreciate you coming on. We'll have you on again. We love you, brother.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.